Hello everyone, I am Murli Prasad and I am running a website called SoftwareTestingOnline.com where you can find the software testing materials. I am preparing a series of videos for fundamentals of testing. In this video, I am going to cover some of the topics such as why testing is necessary, what is testing, testing principles, fundamentals of test process, and psychology of testing. I might divide this entire video into two based on the length of the video. First is why is testing necessary? Uh, the idea is that we are testing something to ensure whether it is okay or not. That is the core logic of testing. Uh, so there are different products in the market, and sometimes if the product does not work, the bug is unimportant. Sometimes it might also be dangerous. For example, if you are buying a gadget of 100 rupees worth, and if the gadget software does not work as intended, example a toy, then obviously it's not expensive. And but if you are again buying a $10,000 mobile phone, and if the mobile phone does not work as intended, obviously you're going to lose your 10,000 rupees, $10,000, which is going to be expensive. Sometimes if you're traveling in a flight and if the flight software does not work as intended, then it will lead to some catastrophic incidences. In that case, it becomes dangerous. So developers obviously they can make mistakes because humans make mistakes, and it is through only testing we ensure that the product quality is okay or the product is reliable. Cost of defects. So this is a graph which shows the different phase of software development life cycle. So we have spec, design, code, testing phase, and release phase. So any software development life cycle has a timeline, that is from the start to the release. So we have more number of hours for testing at the time of spec design phase than in the release phase. Uh, so if a defect was found in the initial phase, then the defect could be fixed. Sometimes the defect fixing can also inject some functional or non-functional issues. Again, the testing team will have an opportunity to test the software. So again, there are multiple opportunities for a testing team when the defect was found at the initial phase, and over close to the release phase, if the number of defects are reported are less, or if the number of defects reported are unimportant, then we can say the software is much more stable. But otherwise, if the software defects are found at the release phase, then obviously fixing those defects, we need to analyze the risk of fixing those defects and how it is going to impact the market. And if it is going to seriously impact the market, then there will be questions like why this kind of defects were not found in the early phase. And after fixing the software, we need to do a testing, and after testing also we need to provide a credibility report that such a kind of issues cannot come in the market. So obviously fixing the finding and fixing the defect at the release phase is very costly. So testing software has different purpose, and there are different kinds of products in the market. So for a particular product, we can perform uh, functional testing, we can perform verification testing, we can perform software and loop testing, model and loop testing, vehicle testing, hardware and loop testing. So again, these kind of different tests have a specific purpose. Example, functional test is intended to verify the requirements are properly implemented on the software, whereas non-functional testing are intended to check the design of the software. Testing principles. There are 7 different testing principles as per the ISTQB guideline document. So we will go through one by one. Uh, Testing shows the presence of defects. What it actually means that testing does not say that there are no defects in the software. By end of testing life cycle, we are assuring that the product are, can work good in the market. It is reliable to use the product. But we never say that there will not be any defect in the software. Software testing cannot assure that. Exhaustive testing is impossible. Well, if you have many inputs and different preconditions, covering all those combination of inputs and preconditions is really time consuming. So in that case, we need to choose uh, the values which are going to cause issues. We need to prioritize that then, and we need to only cover those combinations. In that way, we can reduce the testing effort. Early testing is also related to a slide which we've seen before, that is the cost of bugs when we find at the later stage of software development life cycle is expensive. So hence early testing is important. Defect clustering is that it says the small number of modules contain most of the defects. Okay, what it means is, for example, if there is a software and it goes for a change request, so in 100% of software, 20% got modified. So the 20% of software contains more opportunity to find defects than the 80% of software. Okay, a pesticide paradox is to say that we need to review the test cases present on the test basis periodically. And for example, if a product has been released on the market and after a year we get a new product which is similar to the product A, and most obvious choice is to reuse the test sequence that was prepared for product A. But as we are reusing it, we must also review the test cases. We must add new test cases, new non-functional test sequences to the test bases so that it can find more defects. One another reason behind this is because if you are reusing a product test sequences into product B, obviously the software team also would be reusing the same software which was prepared for product A. So obviously by running the test sequences prepared for product A will not find many defects. So hence we need to review the test cases and add new test cases to find many defects. Testing is a context driven, which actually means that testing on a product which is present inside a vehicle and testing on e-commerce websites are relatively different. They require a different set of test sequence and test approach. Absence of errors. That is, there are two different contexts in this. One is if you are testing, um, absence of errors means that you find more defects in the software and more defects are fixed in the software. It does not mean that the software quality is good. Today I will end up with this last slide, and we will catch you in the next video.